Not many people are talking about this, and what am I referring to? Well, I'm talking about the uncomfortable truth about running a business in the AI economy and what that's going to look like. And the whole point of this video is to be fully transparent with what running a business in this AI economy will look like. The good, the bad, and the ugly. No parts left behind. And so the truth is we're currently living in the golden age of entrepreneurship. The demand for AI services is through the roof, and it has never been this easy to win and achieve your dreams in this current window of opportunity that we have. And the reason why is because businesses have been hearing about AI, and they're already bought into the belief that it will change everything, because it truly will. And businesses also know that they need to adopt and implement AI into their business, or else their competitors who did will take their market share. They're going to take their food off the table. And so the beauty of AI is that every business is bought into the belief that they need AI, which is already half the battle. Okay, but they just don't know what's the best AI solution and how to implement it, which creates a gap in the market. And a gap in the market is created when the demand for a product or service greatly exceeds the supply for it. Okay, and this is the best time to enter and bridge the gap and make a ton of money, create wealth for yourself. But the truth is that this golden window of opportunity will not be here forever. And as time passes, not only will the competition increase, more people will start businesses selling AI offers, so will the market sophistication levels. As more people start up businesses selling AI offers, the market becomes numb to the messaging and they're more reluctant. There's less trust and they're less likely to buy. Okay, or act on it. And so the best time to start was yesterday. And if you're serious about capitalizing on this huge opportunity, here's the fastest way to do so. Step one is to choose your market. If you do not get this right from the beginning, it doesn't matter what sort of AI tools, what sort of mechanisms, what sort of marketing you're doing. Nothing else matters if you're not going after the right market. Okay, so it is very important and crucial you choose the right market in the beginning, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So first we have to distinguish what makes a market good versus what makes a market bad. So the good markets, you want to make sure the market is growing and not dying. They're easy to find online. There's at least 50,000 businesses, ideally within the US. They aren't broke. The least competitive, the better, especially in the beginning, because you don't have as many resources, as much money to work with. So you need to go after the cheapest cost per lead, cheapest cost per booked call. And the best way to do that is go after a market that's not super competitive. And also you want to make sure you can predictably deliver results. And so that's what makes a market good. Now what makes a market bad? Basically it's everything. It's the complete opposite of what makes a market good. So the market is dying. They're hard to find online. There's less than 50,000 businesses in the US and they're broke. So avoid the bad markets and go after the good markets. And look, I'm going to be fully transparent with you. Brick and mortar businesses are by far the best ones to target in the beginning. Why? These are the businesses that typically have the most money. They're the least sophisticated and they're the least competitive. Okay, and there's different types of brick and mortar businesses. You have home remodeling businesses and service providers. When it comes to home remodeling businesses, these are businesses like roofers, HVAC, landscapers, plumbers, any sort of service provider that works on residential, commercial buildings and does work within that area. And then service providers is a little more broad. These are services like chiropractors, dentists, law firms, realtors, accountants, anyone who's providing a professional service, in a physical location. Okay. And so what I'm going to tell you right now, out of these two categories, they're both very solid to go after, but home remodeling is probably going to be the easier to want to go after, especially in the beginning, because they're less sophisticated, less competitive, and that's really where you're going to get a cheaper cost per lead and a cost per booked call. And look, one of the biggest mistakes I see people make, especially in the beginning, is they go too broad. Okay. And if you speak to everybody, you speak to nobody. You don't want to target markets like, let's say, professional services, online, local businesses, online businesses. You want to go very specific. Choose a specific type of business, and you can even go deeper than that. For example, when I was selling AI services to the chiro market, I didn't just target chiropractors. I targeted sports chiropractors, and due to that, I was able to book calls for a cheaper cost, get leads for a cheaper cost, and acquire customers for a cheaper cost. Why? Because my messaging spoke directly to them, and my solution was specifically to them. And so you can also charge higher prices when you position your solution as something that's tailored specifically to their problem. Okay, that was step one, which was choosing your market. Very important to get that correct from the beginning. Now, step two is to craft your AI offer. Okay. And so a lot of people do this the wrong way. I'm going to show you the right way to do it. Okay. The right way you do it is you want to start from the problem the market is having. You want to identify all the problems they face in between their current and their desired situation. Okay. So they have their current situation, which is where they're currently at, and their desired situation, which is on the other side of where they want to be. And in between those two situations, there's problems. So there's a gap and there's problems in between their two situations. And you need to solve all the problems so they can go from their current to their desired situation. So these problems, most of the time, they consist of things like lead gen, lead nurture, systems, automations, etc. Okay, and so I want to show you what a commodity offer looks like versus a valuable offer looks like. okay, in the eyes of the market. So a commodity offer is an offer that only solves one of their problems. So like I mentioned, you have their current and their desired situation. And so let's say their current situation is they're not getting customers predictably, and their desired situation, they want to get customers more predictably. And so if you only implement one mechanism that solves one problem, you're not solving the entire gap. Let's say in this instance, you implement an AI voice dialer that solves the problem of reaching out to the leads, but what if they're not generating any leads? So there's multiple problems within the gap that you need to solve. And so you're only solving one problem, which makes you a general problem solver. There's a low probability of them reaching their desired situation. You're easy to copy. You're selling your time, which means you're not leveraged. You're basically working, you're trading your time for money, and you cannot charge high prices, which makes you perceived as someone who's selling a commodity. Okay, and so what you need to do is you need to take this and you need to package it into an AI infrastructure offer. And so an AI infrastructure offer that solves all of their problems. This is something that you can charge 5, 6, 8, 10K, 12, 15, depending on the problems you're solving, the market you're targeting. And the way you go about it is you have their current situation and their desired situation. And there's going to be multiple problems in between the two situations, and you implement mechanisms, a variety of normal mechanisms and AI mechanisms to solve the entire gap. Okay, and so when you're solving every problem in the gap, that makes you a specialized problem solver. There's a high probability of them reaching their desired situation, and you're hard to copy. And you're also selling systems that are already built, and you can charge a premium so that you can hire a fulfillment team. Okay, and so take this route. This is a higher barrier to entry opportunity. It is harder to build this type of offer up front. It's not hard, but it's harder than just doing this, which is everyone's doing. But these people right here, they're probably lazy and they don't want to sell this. They don't want to take the time and mental effort to build this type of offer route. So if you do build this type of specialized offer route, you won't be competing with as many people because nobody wants to put in the upfront effort to do what it takes to win. Okay, and so you always want to start with the desired situation of the market, and then all the problems in between their current and their desired situation, and then the mechanisms to solve these problems. I see another huge thing I see is people always start with the tool, the AI mechanism they want to implement for a market, and they don't even know which problem they're going to be solving. Always start with the problems of the market. Okay, and so before we get into step 3, I know I'm throwing a lot of information your way that might even be overwhelming. So if you want more insights and more guidance on how to implement all this without spending your first month, your first year failing and not achieving anything, then first link in the description is our completely free AI scaling specialist school community. We have hundreds of AI founders in there. All my YouTube charts are completely free in there. This one's going to be in there also for free. And so if you want direct access to me and all the insights we put out on a daily basis, then first link in the description is our AI scaling specialist school community, once again completely for free. But step 3 is validating your offer. So at this point, we've already chosen the market, we've already crafted a highly valuable AI infrastructure offer, and now we need to validate it. And so how do you validate your offer? Well, it's by talking to your market on sales calls. And what is the best way to book sales calls and market your offer? It's content and ads. Okay, this is by far the best strategy, and I'm about to tell you exactly why. And so first, let's talk about content, which is going to be your long-term strategy, and you need to have this. And so what does content unlock? It unlocks leverage and compounding growth. And the way I want to frame this for you is by comparing creating one YouTube video versus manually sending cold DMs on Instagram. So let's say you're manually sending 1,000 cold DMs on Instagram. What is this? This is you doing 1,000 smaller inputs. And this is realistically going to take around 10 to 12 hours of your time, and it's low leverage. Why? Because the growth is linear. Okay, and what I mean by that is for every one input you do, you get one output. And to frame this for you again, let's say, for example, you have a 10% response rate, which is really good for cold DMs on Instagram. If you have 10% response rate, that means for every 100 cold DMs you send, 10 people respond. Every 200 cold DMs you send, 20 people respond. Every 300, it's 30 people, and so on and so forth. And so it's one input and one output. It's a linear growth, and it's low leverage. And regardless of if you're doing the DMs yourself as the founder, which, I'd say avoid that. There's way better ways to acquire customers, or you have a VA doing it. There's much better way of allocating your resources and your time to acquire customers. Now let's talk about creating one YouTube video that gets you 1,000 views. What are you doing in this situation? Well, you're doing one bigger input. You're creating one YouTube video. And so realistically, create a high quality YouTube video from the time you start creating the material to you recording it, to you editing it, to you uploading it. If you're doing everything yourself, then that's going to take around 4 to 6 hours of your time, maybe a little longer, depends. But this is high leverage. Why? Because the growth is exponential. Okay, each input is growth that compounds. And the way it works is that in the beginning, the growth might not seem like a lot. Your first month, you might gain 50 subscribers. Second month, you might gain 100. Third month, you might gain 200. Fourth month, you might gain 1,000. Then fifth month, 10,000. It's exponential growth. In the beginning, the growth seems slow, but your audience compounds onto itself. And that's the value in YouTube. With each with each video you upload, it's a sales asset that's going to be there for years. And people are going to keep watching it even after you've made it. While you're sleeping, people are watching it. You're nurturing them even while you're sleeping. Okay, while the DMs, it's just a message you send. They might open it, they might not open it. Who knows? Only one person can see it. You're not nurturing them. You're competing in the inbox. Do not do the cold DMs. Create content as your long-term strategy. Okay, and so content is your long-term strategy. And when it comes to your short-term strategy, you want to leverage ads. Ads is by far the best short-term strategy. Okay, why? It's quick. And look, Meta has a ton of data, which not only means that they will put your ad in front of your ideal prospect, but also in front of the person who's most likely going to buy/book a call from you. And this is how advanced our machine learning has gotten, and it's only getting better. And going back to the 4 forms of leverage, which is code, capital, labor, and media. If you don't understand that concept, I recommend you listen to Naval Ravikant. He talks about the 4 forms of leverage a lot. And by running ads, you are leveraging code software, which is one of the best forms of leverage along with capital. It is a permissionless form of leverage. You don't need anyone's permission. As long as you're staying within the guidelines of Meta, you don't need permission to run ads. You can put in as much money as you would like, as long as the ads comply with the policy. And so pay ads instead of people. If you currently have appointment setters sending cold DMs for you, I'd like you to take that money that you're paying those people and simply put it into ads. I guarantee you that a lot more people will hear and learn about your offer. And if you aren't paying anyone and you're doing outreach yourself, please get some sort of source of income, whether it's a credit card, a part-time job, and use that money for ads. The $15 per hour you make from your job will allow you to reach more people with the amount of DMs you can send per hour. Look, people have this huge misconception that ads is some sort of extremely hard skill to learn where you have to know how to code and target people and do all these things. That's gotten less true as time passes by, as the Meta machine learning does more of the work and the heavy lifting. Ads is simply a math game. What you're trying to do is get the lowest cost per lead, as long as these are high quality leads who are booking calls, the cheapest cost per booked call. Okay, as long as these are people who are showing up and have money, and then eventually the ultimate goal, which is the cheapest cost to acquire a customer. And the way you do that, this is a function of how good your creative is. Okay, how good the video or the image, the creative aspect of your ad is. You keep testing different creatives and different offers, different messaging until you're getting a good cost per lead, good cost per book call within the constraint, the budget that you've set for yourself. Okay, that's all ads is. And it does take time. It does take time to fail. You do have to fail a little bit if you're learning on how to do ads as you're completely by yourself. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's one of the best skills you can learn as the founder. And so, like I said, this large window of opportunity will not be here forever. And now that we've been in the AI boom, this AI explosion within a few years so far, how is it shaping out? And what will the AI economy look like? And the first thing we have to talk about is the boost in productivity and the speed at which it's happening at. And so we all know that AI is advancing quick, but when can we expect AI to make significant changes within our society, maybe even reshaping it? And Bill Gates has a quote that fits this situation perfectly. He says that we always overestimate the change that will occur within the next 2 years and underestimate the change that will occur in the next 10. Okay, and so the short-term improvements we are seeing in these models compounds. And so now I want to talk about the AGI and the ASI theory, okay, and I want to break it down for you. So what does AGI and ASI mean? AGI stands for Artificial General Intelligence, and ASI stands for Artificial Superintelligence. And there's a difference between the two, and I want to define them for you, and also break down exactly, what is the outcome of these two, if we reach these two types of AIs. And so first, let's talk about AGI, Artificial General Intelligence. This is AI that matches human-level performance across diverse intellectual tasks, and it's said to be valued at $10 trillion for its economic potential. And what type of tasks can AGI do? Well, it can do things like draw up contracts, legal contracts, professional contracts, diagnose people, and build software. And so based off of this criteria, people can already argue that we've already reached AGI, or that we're on the brink of reaching it, at a more sophisticated level. And so compared to ASI, these are relatively lower complex tasks. Okay, so this is what AGI is. It can do things that us humans would take a few years to learn how to do. We would need professionals within a specific domain to know how to do it, and AGI can do it across a broad variety, a broad spectrum of fields, as good as humans can do it. And so now let's talk about ASI, Artificial Superintelligence. This is AI far surpassing human intelligence, offering immense leverage on time to solve complex 1,000-year problems like fusion energy, enabling breakthroughs in longevity, resources, and mobility. Okay, what types of problems will ASI be able to solve? Well, it's things like how to harness the sun's fusion energy, how to reverse human aging, how to, do interstellar traveling. This is things that us humans would take hundreds, if not thousands of years to figure out. Okay, and so these are extremely complex tasks that, once we do reach this point in AI, who knows how much value it's going to add to the economy. We might even have to reshape our economy based off of nobody ever having to work or God knows what. Okay, and so these are sort of two theories, and the reason why I bring them up is because the smarter the model is, the more leverage on complexity and time we get in return. And so us humans aren't limited in our ability to solve problems, but we are limited in terms of time it takes to solve problems. So for example, these are problems that we've basically already solved. It took us, a few decades maybe to learn these skills and solve it, repetitively, opposed to these problems, which these are 100-year, 1,000-year problems that it's going to take us to solve. We aren't limited in our ability to solve these problems, but in the time it's going to take for us to solve it. Okay, and so, the AI tools we're currently developing isn't some sort of independent species or race that persists in its own intentions or desires. I hope not, at least. But it is a tool that provides leverage in a way that is orders of magnitude greater than the leverage we got from the previous digital tools. And so what I mean by that, let's take a look at yesterday's tools. If you wanted to write mail by hand and deliver it by hand, that'll take you around 7 days. Now you can write mail digitally and deliver it digitally, and it's going to take you around 7 minutes. Okay, probably even less than that. And now we have today's tools, which are the current AI models we're developing, which is humans coding to it turning into a sophisticated software product. Takes around 7 months, give or take, maybe less, maybe a little more. I'd say that's a good average. Opposed to now AI coding and building the software product can take up to 7 days. So as you can see, the more sophisticated the tools we have, the more leverage on the time we have it takes to solve these problems. And then we have tomorrow's tools, which is if us humans wanted to figure out how to reverse our aging to us actually getting to that point, probably take around 70, 100 years, maybe less, maybe more, who knows. Opposed to if we had ASI figure it out to actually get into the point, it'd probably take around 7 years, maybe even less, depending on how good it gets, maybe 7 seconds, who knows at this point. And look, the smarter the tools, the faster we can solve complex problems. And how does this affect the economy? Well, there will be an obvious boost in productivity, and we are already seeing it with coding. Coding software is by far the first narrow field that's been hit massively by AI. Nobody's raw dogging their code anymore. Nobody's writing it all by hand. Everyone's using Cursor, Grok, all these different tools to write and troubleshoot their code. And the reason why coding has been hit first is because it's the most intimate to the creation of AI. AI is, it's translated to the creation. These algorithms are translated through code, and that's why it's been affected first. Okay, and so we're obviously seeing a huge boost in productivity and coding, and also some job displacement. Microsoft is cutting down on their teams, and people are becoming more productive. 100 people teams are being trimmed down to teams of 10 people who use AI. And so right now is the perfect time to start selling AI offers. Why? Because we aren't at the point yet where AI is solving extremely complex problems, where you can still use it to help you solve the problems of running ads, creating content, but it's not fully automating it to the point where us agency owners are obsolete. So you need to start now. Okay, you need to start now before more people start it up, becomes more competitive, more sophisticated. Right now is the best time to start. And once again, if you do want to start, first link in the description is our fully free AI scaling specialist school community. Hundreds of AI founders in there. If you want direct access to me, I'll be in there, and I'll see you on the inside.